Hi, my name's Koko Brown and I am an artist and producer. I've been working in theatre for a very long time and I make a lot of work about the things that I know and my communities. So I make a lot of work about being a black mixed race woman, I make work about mental health, sexuality, a little bit about gender. I love writing spoken word pieces about love and grief and growth. And today, Brixton House have asked me to answer a couple of questions for Mental Health Awareness Week 2021. So let's do it. So the first question is, what work have you made about mental health? So I write a lot of poetry about mental health, a lot of spoken word pieces about that, because it's something that I know, it's something that I have grown up with and that has been in my life in one way or another for a very, very long time. So it's part of my identity, it's part of my history, and it's important to me to talk about these things because I can and I'm able to do that. And I also made a show called Grey. Grey is a theatre show about being a black woman who lives with clinical depression. So it sort of follows my journey as a person who didn't really understand what was happening, didn't really understand the chemical mix up in her brain, and then going to talk to doctors and trying other forms of self-care and looking at counselling and therapy and medication, and sort of leads up to where I am in my life now. And that piece of work is really special to me because it was a chance for me to be able to talk to the world about clinical depression and about being a black woman living with mental illness and how that affected me. So that's the work that I make. Why is it important to make theatre about mental health? That's really easy. It's super important to make theatre or any art about mental health because, well, one, art is a form of release. I think anybody out there who does anything creative or artistic, whether as their job or as a hobby or as something they do as a side hustle or whatever, I think anyone can tell you that making art about something that you're dealing with, something that you're exploring, something that you're starting to try to understand, helps. It's helpful. It's helpful to make work about this stuff. It's helpful to make art and theatre about mental health for yourself. I think first you should do all the things for yourself and then help positively affect others, which is another reason why I think it's so important to make work about mental health, because hopefully you might say something that resonates with somebody else, or something that someone didn't know and they've learned something, or they've seen the world in a different way, or they're beginning to have an understanding of what it's like to be in someone else's shoes. There are so many more reasons, but those are two of mine. Where do you start with making work about mental health? Well, this is really easy. The first place that I always start about making work about mental health, or actually about anything, is I ask myself, am I ready to make this thing? Am I ready to begin this journey? Am I ready to tell this story? Am I ready to open myself up in this way? And that's the most important thing, I think, is asking yourself, are you ready, and being honest. Sometimes you might ask yourself that question and actually the answer is no. The answer is, I'm not ready to talk about this thing or to explore this or to share it with the world, and that's okay. Just be honest with yourself. If the answer is yes, I am ready to do this, I think it's really important to have an understanding that might change as well. That might change along this journey, along you writing or creating this piece of art. You might begin thinking that you're fine with it, and then you get somewhere and something changes, or it becomes a little bit difficult, or you get a little bit triggered by something that's been brought up, and you have to be able to look after yourself, and you have to be able to be honest with yourself that actually maybe this isn't the right time. So that's the first thing that I do, is I ask myself, am I able to make this, and be honest about the answer. And then the second thing I question is, what do I want to say? Why am I making this piece of work? So sort of two questions there is, what do I want to say? What is it that is important to you? What is it that you want to give a platform to? And then why are you making this work? Similar sort of to the first question about, are you making it for yourself? Are you making it because you want to just get some emotions and feelings and thoughts out? Are you making it because you want to help educate people on this subject or topic or theme? Are you making it because you want to give platforms to people or communities or specific sectors, for example? Those are the two questions that I ask. And then the third question is, who do I trust to make it with me? Again, another really important one for me is thinking about, when I'm making work about mental health, I don't know how I'm going to be affected throughout this process. So I need to make sure that I'm working with people who are people that I trust, people that I can talk to, people who can communicate well and communicate with me, and whether that's something that we've got to learn together or something that we've already got from past experiences. Either way, communication is super important. And then I also think about whether the people I want to work with are good artists. And for me, when I was making Grey, I was lucky enough to find people who I did trust, who had an understanding, and who were also amazing artists in their own right. So I feel very fortunate for that. Let's do the last question. So the final question is, how can you look after yourself and your team when making work about mental health? I said it before a little bit, but it's really important to be able to communicate with the people you're working with, and for them to be able to communicate with you and to understand how you all want to be communicated with. Is there moments where you might not want to talk about very difficult subjects or topics, but you've allocated space for that, so that people know what they're walking into, especially when you're making work about mental health. You don't know what is happening outside of your rehearsal room or outside of your studio. So you need to make sure that the space is as safe as possible for you all to do the good work you're going to do. And so that's about communicating. That's about setting boundaries and guidelines of, these are the things that we're going to talk about. If you feel unsafe or upset or worried, these are the things that you can do. These are the people you can go to. Things such as taking regular breaks and saying, we will have a break whenever we do this scene because it's what's best for the creative team and the company. Communication is my biggest one. I also think that it's worth thinking about how you're going to keep yourself safe when making work about mental health. Whether that's, talking to a therapist and having a regular scheduled therapy session, whether that is talking to friends, whether that is having helpline numbers in case something really does affect you and you need immediate help. All of these things are, I would say, practical self-care, which is something that's really important to me, is finding ways of practically incorporating self-care within your work. So do you need helplines? Do you need breaks? Do you need specific space and time or people to be in the room when you make stuff? Those are ways that I look after my team and myself when I'm making work. I hope this was useful. Have a great Mental Health Awareness Week. I hope you're really aware of mental health. That's it, I'm gonna go. Okay, thanks. Bye.